Had a blind date last week, didn't work out either, you know. I mean, I've seen fat girls. This girl was ridiculous.
Fat, huh?
She was so fat, when she went jogging, she left a trail of potholes. I mean, she was
fat girl, yeah.
These stories on The Tonight Show were so hilarious, they became legendary moments audiences still watch today.
You didn't like the service, if I remember. We sat around talking about that several nights.
I'll never forget to a full bird colonel, and did a voice on him, which I'll never forget. And I said, "Oh, sir, what is your name?"
These are the most funny stories ever told on Johnny Carson. Jonathan Winters glued his cat to the floor.
I had a thing happen. I was painting the other night. Some glue spilled on the floor, and I forgot momentarily. I phase out, you know. My cat came down, and Kitty was quite still. And so I said, come on, Tiger. And Tiger's just like this, you know. But I had to give him some help. So Lefty's paws, but... No, I'm kidding.
Johnny reportedly said, Winters can make any insane story sound like a normal situation. Buddy Hackett tells the duck story.
He says, what are you doing in my yard? He said, I come to get the duck. He said, that's my duck. It's not your duck. This is my yard. That duck fell, hit my barn, laying there. Yes, but that's not your duck. I shot the duck. I've been out hunting for a couple of days. He says, give me a break. You know, I'm from the city. You're from the city. However, I'll give you a chance at the duck. We can settle this country style. Country style? He says, yeah. How do you settle a country style? He says, how? I kick you in the groin, and then you kick me in the groin. And we take turns kicking each other in the groin. Who's ever left keeps the duck. The guy said, well, if that's what I gotta do. The farmer says, I go first. And he hauls off. Whack! And the guy goes, ha, 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 ha. About half hour has passed. And he says to the farmer, well, I guess it's my turn. And the farmer says, you could have the duck.
This story became so iconic, it became one of the most replayed clips in Tonight Show history. Jonathan Winters tells Johnny about his drinking parents.
So, and eventually she grabbed me, the bottle dropped, you know. Oh, hi, sweetheart, it is you. And so I went to my room, which about this area in here, bed, wash bowl, and a commode, and place to hang the funny shirts. So I said, Mother, you know, it's great to be home, number one. And I said, where are my toys? There's long pause. She said, you're 20 years old, dummy. And
Winters tells childhood memories where weird things are just another Tuesday.
But you should have written me, you know, those last hours in Philadelphia where I discharged. And I said, please, why, you should have let me know. And she said the line I'll never forget. She said, well, sweetheart, how did we know that you were going to survive? So that's when I put her in a home early.
Johnny joked to producers, Winters keeps the tone light, making darker absurdity flip into laughter. The story feels too real to be made up. Rodney Dangerfield's dating troubles.
Had a blind date last week, didn't work out either, you know. I mean, I've seen fat girls. This girl was ridiculous.
Fat, huh?
She was so fat, when she went jogging, she left a trail of potholes. I mean, she was
fat girl, yeah.
Fat girl.
Rodney keeps spitting jokes about his dating life that destroys Carson and the audience.
Oh, when she graduated high school, her picture was continuing on the next page.
I didn't know that.
She was a fat girl.
That's a large girl, big girl.
This girl was fat and ugly. Ooh, was she
ugly too,
Ooh,
huh?
ugly. Ooh. How ugly? She was so ugly. I mean, she goes to the bank, they turn off the cameras. I mean, this girl was an ugly girl.
Johnny, after the show, said, no wonder I keep inviting him back. Rodney never disappoints. Buddy Hackett tells the naked bath tale. Hackett sells the iconic naked bath story like it's nothing.
And we're going to the bath, and it's up on the 5th floor. And we're at the elevator going to the 5th floor. Now, I forgot that I sat with him, so I'm going to go naked. What's the difference to me? I want to get the laugh for the moment. He says, you're not going to get naked in the bath? I said, what? He said, you said you wouldn't get naked in the bath. Promise you won't get naked in the bath. Say you won't get naked in the bath. I said, okay, I won't get naked in the bath. I got naked in the elevator. I mean, what do I care? I don't know anybody in Japan. I figure you get in the elevator, you go up to the 5th floor, the door opens, you jump in the water, right? I'm naked, he's crying. The door opened, I stepped out. I'm in the lobby, it didn't go up. And there's a couple hundred Japanese go, I said, you don't have to bow. If you can't see from where you are, forget about it.
Carson told friends, "I realized the story was only getting wilder, and my reactions became the punctuation." Frank Abagnale's criminal story.
I was in LaGuardia Airport sitting in a restaurant, and I'd only had the uniform a couple of days, and a TWA pilot walked in and said, "How you doing?" Said hello, and he said, "What kind of equipment are you on?" And I thought, well, equipment, I didn't know what to say, so I said, "General Electric." And he said, "Oh," and he walked out. So I quickly found out what equipment meant, what type of aircraft.
What kind of aircraft you fly?
Abagnale stays calm and matter-of-fact while describing situations that sound impossible. Carson reportedly said, "The audacity of his moves explained like basic errands is funny in that jaw-dropping way where truth sounds like a movie plot." Johnny Carson's Nebraska girlfriend.
Humid days that take me, I hearken back to my youth. I really do. I hearken every other day. I hearken. I thought of my very first girlfriend today. Lottie good stuff.
Johnny turns himself into the punchline, remembering his girlfriend with just enough detail, then undercutting it with a line that reframes the whole memory. Buddy Hackett's forbidden story.
Jackie told me a story, and he says, "Please don't tell it on the Tonight Show." And I give him my word of honor.
He said, "Please don't tell it?"
Yeah.
And?
Here's the story.
Hackett frames the whole thing like forbidden information, making the audience lean in, then teases the line he can't cross.
There was this degenerate horse player. He described a degenerate horse player. I don't know what that means. A degenerate horse player must mean a guy who not only plays the horses, but sleeps with them. I don't know
that.
Johnny later said Buddy weaponizes suspense for laughs instead of rushing to the end, turning a simple anecdote into a controlled train wreck. Jonathan Winters, the Marine misfit.
I was always disturbed because I didn't know where I was. Unless you're an officer, you see, you're not clued in. And you're not given the top papers, which I felt I should have had at least one or two papers. I kept asking questions, which is always trouble. Running up to a captain, or a colonel like yourself and saying, "Where are we, sir?"
Winters treats the Marines like a world where he was the wrong species, describing it with total commitment. The story lands because he doesn't just tell it, he becomes every person in it with voices, posture, and quick pivots.
Move out. And I was always moving out. I was frightened a great deal of the time. I was frightened of the guys. I didn't understand a lot of them. They didn't understand me. I was kidding all the time, I'd be in grandma 1 minute, and, "Hi, honey,"
Each detail is funnier because it's framed as him trying to belong while clearly not belonging at all. Carson breaks because Winters makes failure to fit in sound like an epic adventure. Johnny tries keeping up, but Winters is too fast. The physicality adds layers beyond the words. Carson later called it one of his favorite Winters stories. The Marines angle made it even more absurd. Burnett, the self-defense expert.
He grabbed my arm from behind like this, and he said, "Let's go." And without a beat, I went,
Burnett tells it with that sweet, casual delivery, making the subject even funnier because it shouldn't sound so normal. The story lands as she explains her logic like it's the most practical solution anyone could have.
The reason I said that, one time, I think in order to scare somebody off, if you're scared,
Right.
is to do the unexpected.
Like start to sing would probably do it.
Yeah, now,
Carson's laughter comes from how confidently she commits to the weirdness instead of apologizing for it. It's classic Burnett turning everyday life into a hilarious, very specific personal rule.
You gotta set him off his rhythm a little bit.
shaking the blues away.
Fascinating rhythm, they got you on the go, fascinating rhythm.
The guy
I'm gonna try that next time if I ever
had
get...
a ding-dong, and he took off. That man's still running.
Johnny can't believe what he's hearing. Burnett's innocence sells the bizarre logic. Carson tries understanding her reasoning, but it's too strange. The audience loves her earnestness about something so odd. Frank Hill, the manure man.
Big dropping for a big star. I don't think I've ever been so moved, Frank. You'll excuse the expression there.
Don't cry, but I'm sincere.
You're kind of the Cartier of caca, aren't you?
The premise is already funny because he's introduced through his job identity, creating a "what am I about to hear" vibe. He builds the story by treating the gift like a proud offering while the audience is imagining the worst.
Nature at work.
Look, like I'll never be able to get my money out of that bird. He's going to eat more feed than he's worth. So maybe I could take the dropping and, do something with it and get it out. So I thought it'd be a good idea to make some as a joke and sell them to some of my Yankee friends,
The The laughs come from the mismatch between his earnestness and how ridiculous the situation feels on a late-night set. Carson's reactions make it even better because he's trying to stay polite while the room loses it.
Well, that's very nice.
And here's a star, and I'm going to break the mold. That's a first limited edition, and it's just for you.
A limited edition?
And I'm going to break the mold when I get back to South Carolina. It's a big dropping.
Yeah.
For a big star.
Oh, that's very nice.
Hill has no idea how funny he is. Johnny maintains professional composure barely. The gift itself becomes legendary. Carson later joked about it for years. Johnny Carson, the Hollywood story master.
Just talking like this, he walked out and he stood over here for a while, and I gave him a big introduction, and he went, "Oh," he says, "his lights are really bright, aren't they?"
Johnny frames it like classic backstage lore, the kind of story you only hear when the cameras are already rolling. The laughs come from how he contrasts two larger-than-life personalities with his own understated, "Can you believe this?" tone.
And he turned on Zsa Zsa Gabor. She was talking about something. She said, "You know, darling, I have this new..." And she was plugging some soap or some hairspray or something. You remember? And she said, "Phil, you know, darling, I have these new the deodorants, and I have this..." And Brando turns to her and says, "We're going to have to sit here all night and listen to your plugs."
He keeps it grounded with specific little observations, so it plays more like a real encounter than a polished Hollywood tale. It's funny because the legends feel human in his retelling without losing their myth. Carson tells the Brando story with perfect timing. The Wayne anecdote contrasts beautifully. Johnny makes himself the straight man.
Saying, I just says, "Dear Johnny, I just wanted to tell you how appreciative I was and how gracious you were to me and how comfortable you made me feel during the Academy Awards, and you did a wonderful job," and signed Duke Wayne. And I said, "My God," I said, "here's a guy who's got all of these personal problems, you know, and still took time out while he was in the hospital to send a note like that."
Yeah,
it meant a great deal, and that was special for me.
The behind-the-scenes details fascinate the audience. Carson's delivery is casual, making it feel spontaneous. He pauses in perfect places for laughs. The Brando impression gets huge reactions. Johnny respects both legends while poking fun. The Wayne story reveals unexpected vulnerability. Carson's Nebraska roots make him relatable to icons. The contrast between Carson and movie stars creates humor. Johnny never name-drops to brag, just to entertain. His self-deprecating approach makes the stories better. The audience trusts Carson's authenticity. He frames encounters as normal guy meets legends. Johnny's timing on the punchlines is flawless. The stories become part of Tonight Show mythology. Carson revisited these tales over the years. Each telling added new details. Johnny's respect for Brando and Wayne shows through. The humor comes from incongruity, not mockery. Carson proved he could storytell as well as host. Merritt Heaton, the deadpan farmer.
Oh, I let my son do the bossing. I do what he says.
Really?
Yeah.
How old's your son?
Oh, he's 78.
The humor comes from his dry, unhurried way of answering questions like he's not trying to be funny at all. Carson sets him up with ordinary prompts, and Heaton's plain-spoken replies keep landing like punchlines because of the contrast.
What's been the biggest change since you were a young man on the farm?
Oh, well, I'd say electricity.
The segment becomes a story of a life told in little deadpan pieces, and the audience keeps rewarding the honesty. Johnny ends up laughing at how effortlessly the farmer controls the room. Heaton has zero performance anxiety. His matter-of-fact delivery kills.
Somebody said you have a lady friend that you occasionally visit here in California.
Oh, gosh, I visit her more than occasionally.
Carson tries being the funny one, but Heaton outshines him. The farmer's stories are simple, but perfectly timed. Johnny realizes he's discovered accidental comedy gold. Heaton never changes his tone, making everything funnier. The audience falls in love with his authenticity. Carson extends the segment because it's working so well. Heaton answers questions like he's talking to a neighbor. Johnny's questions get simpler to let Heaton shine. The farmer's wisdom sounds like punchlines. Carson later told producers to book more regular people. Heaton's age gives his stories weight. Johnny treats him with visible respect. The contrast between Hollywood and Illinois farming is perfect. Heaton steals the show without trying. Carson laughs genuinely, not professionally. The farmer becomes an unexpected Tonight Show legend. Johnny references Heaton in future episodes. The segment proves you don't need to be a comedian to be funny. Mel Brooks, the Cary Grant performer.
Hi, Cary Grant. You look good, Cary Grant. Are you really Cary Grant? He said, come on, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going into the lunchroom there. He said, oh, the commissary, yeah, come with me, Bart, I'll buy you lunch. Oh, my God, Cary Grant is going to buy me lunch.
Brooks doesn't just tell it, he performs it, turning a Cary Grant anecdote into a mini one-man scene. The laughs build because he keeps sharpening the details and letting the story spin wider with each line. Johnny's reaction is half the fun because you can feel him getting pulled along by Brooks's momentum.
What's your favorite car? I said, a Buick. He said, a Rolls Royce. I said, that's nice. And we talk like that, you know? Me saying Buick, he saying Rolls Royce. It was a very interesting conversation. He went to Grand Art, I went to Schwartz. I thought that was it. The next day, about 11:45, we get a call. Is Mel Brooks there? Yes. It's Cary Grant. Would you like to go to lunch? Sure, Cary. All right. Holy mackerel, Cary Grant.
It's storytelling as a controlled explosion. Brooks does the Cary Grant voice perfectly. Johnny tries interjecting, but Brooks is on a roll. The story escalates beyond the original premise. Carson surrenders to Brooks's energy. Mel adds physical comedy to the narrative.
What to say to each other. Anyway, let me tell you the punchline. Comes Friday, the phone rings, it's Cary Grant. I said, I'm not in.
Johnny laughs so hard he can barely breathe. Brooks treats the couch like a stage. The Grant impression gets better as he goes. Carson becomes the audience watching a show. Mel's commitment makes it feel like a sketch. Johnny later said Brooks was unstoppable. The story goes longer than typical segments. Carson allows it because it's too good. Brooks includes every detail, maximizing comedy. Johnny's genuine laughter encourages more. Mel feeds off the audience's energy. The friendship between them is visible. Carson gives Brooks freedom. Few guests receive. Mel rewards that trust with brilliance. Oprah Winfrey, the pantyhose disaster.
Before the show to go out and give me some pantyhose because I had a run, you know, and she got a size too small, and so just as I was standing there, they slid down.
You felt the pantyhose?
Yeah. That's a horrible feeling when you're on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and your pantyhose are right here.
A feeling I hope to...
Oprah wins the crowd by telling a self-deprecating story that feels real instead of TV perfect. The specific hook is her pantyhose story, which is relatable and awkward in a way that immediately breaks the formality of a first-time sit-down. Carson laughs because she's confident enough to make herself the joke without sounding rehearsed. It's the kind of story that turns a debut into an instant connection. Oprah's willingness to be vulnerable endears her immediately. Johnny recognizes her natural storytelling ability. The pantyhose detail is specific enough to be believable. Carson sees star quality in her comfort with embarrassment. Oprah's laugh is infectious, making the story funnier. Johnny gives her space to tell it at her pace. The audience relates to the awkwardness she describes. Carson later told his staff Oprah was a natural. Her first appearance becomes a launching pad. Johnny's questions encourage more personal stories. Oprah never tries too hard, just speaks truth. The story works because it's universal. Carson appreciates her intelligence combined with humor. Oprah handles The Tonight Show like a veteran. Johnny's visible enjoyment validates her approach. The pantyhose story becomes her Tonight Show signature. Carson books her again immediately. Oprah's authenticity separates her from polished guests. Johnny sees her future success in this moment. The debut proves Oprah can connect with any audience. Carson's laughter gives her confidence. Oprah leaves having conquered America's toughest room. Johnny tells friends he just met a future superstar. These Johnny Carson stories have been rewatched millions of times years later for one simple reason. They were comedy gold at its finest. Which story on this list did you watch back in the day? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.